What's up, Bridal Babes? I hope you're ready for another exciting episode of your favorite local wedding show, Bridal Buzz. Today we're in the studio joined by Dane Miller, the owner and founder of Dos Kiwis Studio, an amazing photographer here in town, and he is going to fill us in on some of the best advice that he has to offer as a wedding photographer for about 20 years. So stay tuned, listen up. You're not going to want to miss the advice that he has for you today. With that, let's get started. Dane, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
I think this is your third time in the studio.
I think it's my third time here.
So welcome back.
Happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your background in photography, how you got here.
Well, I first started 100 years ago at Fox Photo.
Back in the day.
And when we had something called Film, F-I-L-M, and now, of course, we don't have that anymore, but that's where I started. And then I got very involved in Professional Photographers of America and became the president in 2015, and this year, again, president of our local guild, just doing that continuing education and eating it up.
Love it. And how did you get into weddings?
From the very first part, I was doing weddings. It was just seeing where, it took me. And I happened to run into a lady, used to work here years ago, and she really pushed my career going with San Antonio weddings and using their website.
Shout out.
The Time, the magazine. Shout out. I mean, it's the truth. And it really pushed me to the next level, and
Yay.
I saw the importance in, advertising was.
Amazing. And could you give like a guesstimate of how many weddings you've shot over the years?
Over 1,000.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe not myself, but at one time we had two teams. Now we just have one team. For, good 10 years we were doing 2 weddings a weekend. I have comprised a list that I've put on my blog before. I took it down. I put it back up, but I put a list of things together that are 10 tips that could help a bride and a groom from the perspective view of a photographer. It doesn't necessarily have to be about photography, right, but some of it is.
Right. Well, I mean, you've done over 1,000 weddings. You've seen
everything.
The highs and the lows. You know.
I could write a book. I'm not kidding you. It's just a vast information up there.
So today's going to be a summarized version.
Yes, very summarized.
And if they want to find this full list, I'm pretty sure we're going to put it on the blog for San Antonio weddings as well.
I have it all typed out. So,
perfect. It'll be available whether you want to read it, listen to it. We got you covered, Bridal Babes. So let's get started with that. Let's go with number 1.
Well, the first one is invitations versus time of ceremony. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that they need to say, my wedding starts at 6 on the invitation, and they in their mind they think, oh, I can't keep people waiting. I have to walk down the aisle at 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Well, if you tell Frank and Mary to be at your wedding at 6 o'clock at San Fernando, that means they're going to arrive downtown at 6 o'clock. Right. Then they're going to spend 15 minutes looking for parking, and pretty much we're going through communion by the time they're inside the church.
Yeah.
So there's no rule that says, that you need to arrive at the time of when you're walking down the aisle. Right. Make it 15 minutes later. If you're at a venue, some places they have no side aisles, and like Las Mission, it's a beautiful place. But if you arrive late, it's really awkward. You're walking down the aisle, and I have seen people go, oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible.
Not what you want at your wedding.
Keep your butt outside until the bride's gone. And now she's standing there staring at you. Mm-hmm. It's just not a bad.
Like, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, thanks for. Let's have some small talk, because I'm only got a million emotions running through my head right now.
The bride should be the last one to walk down that aisle. Like, you don't want guests going back and forth on the aisle after she's.
I mean,
there.
I've been in the aisle standing there taking pictures, and people are tapping on my shoulder. I'm like,
You're like, your seat is more important than me capturing this moment? I don't think so.
Exactly. So,
okay, well, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's like my number one important one. Number two, flower budget. You know, if you want to spend $1 million on mariachis because that's your dream, then you should do whatever's your dream.
Right.
If decor is your dream, but a lot of people will tell me, we have only this much for flowers. It's not really my thing. I really don't care about it. One thing that I think that works is to have one spectacular piece at the opening or on the sign-in table,
right,
or on the main. A lot of these girls are now doing, I think they're called farm tables, or the long thin tables, and I'm think having one spectacular piece instead of a bunch of crappy things
right
on every table really works.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of brides that have taken my advice and thanked me and said everybody talked about that centerpiece, or that one floral that was incredible.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how much florals cost until they really get into it, and then they decide, okay, you know, I'd rather spend it somewhere else. But this is a great way to still get that amazing floral display without having to put florals everywhere and, you know, paying an arm and a leg for the entire place just dripping with florals.
While we're on the discussion of flowers, good Lord, girls, do not carry a bouquet that's, I'm on video, right? So this thick, the stems are this thick, you know. You don't need it. It should just complement you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
make your hands cramp.
It does. I have had so many times we're doing the formal pictures and I'm holding the bouquet and handing it back to her, handing it back to her because she can't hold it. It's so thick.
It's
you
like
know,
a toddler in your arms.
Yeah. And cascading, okay, we won't even go there.
We'll save that for the next episode.
Don't get me started on that one.
Let's get you started on number 3.
Bustling the dress. I have seen the most complicated dresses where it's yellow and red and green and we're matching up the ribbons and underneath, and I've got 5 girls underneath their dress with a flashlight or a phone trying to figure out how to get the dress up.
Like the mice and Cinderella.
It's exactly. It's horrible.
Oh my gosh.
It's something that people miss, 45 minutes of their reception because they're trying to do that. Mm-hmm. And I've seen mothers and daughters and sisters screaming at each other because, it's not working. If you have a dress that is complicated, assign somebody. Make sure they know what they're doing. Practice it 5 times.
Bring them with you to the fitting.
Exactly.
Yes.
Those people that work in bridal salons, they know how to do it, and they know that it's complicated, and they want to teach you how to do it, and it should be done.
Yes.
When you buy your dress, just make sure they know that we need like a month out to have everything ready for the bridal portrait. So many times we're the ones stuck doing it 2 days before the wedding because their dress is not ready yet. But it's always a problem.
Yeah.
It's consistently coming up that their dress isn't ready.
I've heard advice to just tell them a different wedding date. Tell them your wedding date's a couple months before it actually is.
I'm not into lying, but it wouldn't be.
But I'm into having my dress on time.
Exactly. And for the bridal portrait.
Yes.
This is like a 3.5 on my list. It's number 4.
Okay.
And it's really, really a touchy subject. I don't even know how to approach it. It's hard, but sleeveless dresses. I'm watching these people, and I'm doing the bridal portrait ahead of time, and then the girls are telling me, oh my God, my arms look so fat in this dress. Why? And I'm like, honey, you picked this dress out, not me. Why? Where are the moms, the maid of honor, the sisters, not to tell them to wear some sleeves or a bolero?
That sold it to them even.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do anything about it. You're beautiful. You're a bride. It's your best day of your life. But you're going to come back and look at those pictures and they're all telling me, you've got to Photoshop 1,200 images to show that my arms look skinnier.
One of the most heartbreaking things I hear is when people are like, please Photoshop me to look thinner. It's like, you're beautiful, and if you don't like the way you look in this dress, that's okay. You can wear a different dress, but just make sure you pick something that's going to make you feel confident. You don't need your photographer to be photoshopping a fake version of you. You were the bride,
That's right.
not the Photoshop version of you. So
I agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, we do anything. We're going to make them happy. But I never pull them back so far where they're unrecognizable or
Right.
the first thing that they say is, oh, you've been, Photoshopped or airbrushed, Okay, moving on.
Number 5.
Consider the season hot or nice. Man, I can't tell you don't have your wedding in August, but pick a place where you're not going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I have seen guests leave because they were so
Hot.
impacted by
Wow.
hotness. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, this next coming year, it's going to be hard to find a date that is going to accommodate everything. But if you're going to have a wedding in the hot season, make sure you have fans. Make sure you have
There's
AC
lots of
blasting.
things you could do. If we're uncomfortable and we're working, I can't imagine how the guests are.
Yeah. But, there is a blog on San Antonio weddings called Texas Summer Wedding Must-Have. So if this is an issue that you're having, go and check it out. Look and see.
They need to do their research. Go back and look at that.
Before we move on to number 6, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, the McNay Art Museum.
My God. I love them. I love to shoot there. I mean, it is just so incredible. And Monica, she's the best.
Yeah, great to work with. An amazing venue. If you love art, if you love Art Deco style, the McNay has multiple packages, different spaces you can rent for your wedding. Weekdays, weekends, they got you covered. So check them out on sanantonioweddings.com. The McNay Art Museum is ready to host you.
I hope maybe you can drop in one of my images.
Yes.
I used it in my ad a few years ago with San Antonio Weddings, and
I think
it was
right now,
just beautiful.
there's Dane's photo of the McNay.
Wow.
Wow.
And by curiosity, I just saw that it was those people's 5th year anniversary on a Facebook memory today.
Aww,
so
that's so special.
yeah, it came up on my feed.
That is meant to be.
Number 6 is hair and makeup. Listen to your photographer. Listen to your photographer.
Listen to your photographer.
I have a makeup artist that I work with a lot and recommend her, but we are constantly at battle with what do you call them? Little spiral things that hang down right here.
Those curls
that make shadows.
Side bangs.
Even though I get along with this person and I think she's amazing, but we always seem to be arguing about things that hang in front. And if you're at the altar and people are looking at you this way, you don't want that hiding you. It needs to be brought back.
You don't want to get in the way of the photos. You don't want weird shadows on your face, for sure.
No, a shadow going right through there and it looks like a corkscrew, you know, and
that's something I didn't even think about.
And, just using good makeup artistry on the day of the wedding, they know what to put on your face that, does not reflect the flash. Number 7, leave your phone at home. I've seen some funny things where the guy said, hold on, I'm changing my status on my Facebook right now. And I thought, okay, good thing you weren't in a Catholic church. You've probably been
shunned.
Yeah, exactly. Or repenting or something.
Yeah.
But 3 weeks ago, I was at a wedding and the bride was just getting ready. We're about 5 minutes out and the phone rings and 2 phone calls asking, I don't know where this place is. I'm trying to find it. I'm like, are you serious? Don't answer your phone on your wedding day. Put that away. It just made stress for her.
Also, if you're a guest, try not to call the bride on the day of her wedding. Maybe
would you
call
do
her
that?
mom, call her maid of honor, call anyone.
Call a taxi, an Uber or something.
Call 411.
Yeah, exactly. 411. That is, you're dated.
Hey, I was born in 96, baby.
I just never understood why people are walking around with their phones, and it makes for ugly pictures when the bride sticks it right here on left. You don't have a breast pocket, so
For a reason.
Exactly. Don't stick your phone there.
Yeah, no.
Just be phone free that day.
Yeah, the people you love most are there. You don't really need to talk to anybody else. So
that's right.
Enjoy it. Yeah, I like that one.
Okay, coordinator or not. Coordination is something that almost every wedding needs. Don't depend on your photographer or your DJ to, run the chorus. Coordinators do so much more. And I've had people when it's like 250 people at a venue and they show up with no coordinator, and they go, oh, my sister's going to do it. Why would you want your sister to work at your wedding?
Yeah.
You know, that is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Think really strong about having a coordinator at your wedding. And, you know, if you can't afford, you know, the 6 months out coordinator, just do day of.
Yeah.
Not every venue has somebody on staff that, you know, is going to do that. So
yeah, I agree. I think if there's a way to help you and your closest loved ones celebrate harder on your big day, then do it. You know, if you can afford it, then for sure make it happen.
Number 9 is my favorite, so I'm going to push that to number 10.
Okay.
Number 10 was invest in photography. Flowers die. You don't remember what the cake tasted like. You don't remember the food. The photography is going to be around forever, and videography too.
Yeah. 100% I agree with this.
Just having the photography and having somebody doing good. I cannot tell you how many times people have told me, yeah, well, my friend did it and I got 70 pictures, you know, and I'm like, wow, you know.
One of each moment.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they'll bring it and ask us to try to make an album, and we're going, okay, what did they shoot this on, an iPhone? Or, you know, an iPhone would have been better than what they used.
No.
That's really sad.
That's one of the saddest things to hear is, you know, I wasn't happy with my photos for my wedding, or the wedding photographer did me wrong, or I've heard crazy stories about.
Read your reviews, people.
And read your contract with your
photographer. Read your contract too. It's very reviews, and they're everywhere.
And look at their Instagram, look at their Facebook, look at, you know.
Oh, that's real good advice.
All of it, because there's no right or wrong answer for your photos, but there's definitely a spectrum of quality that you can go with, right?
That's correct.
For this big day, I don't know if you'll ever have a day as big as this again. Go all out. Get that photographer that's going to help you remember it in the most beautiful, in the most representative way of you possible.
Okay, number 9, going backwards, is, and I have a really good story for it, relax about the steps and family and step parents. And I've seen brides freak out about, oh my God, my mom's going to be there, and my dad, and they've been divorced 20 years, they're both remarried. People get along. Out of 1,000 weddings, I only saw one time that somebody was rude. There might have been other photographers that saw, worse things than I have. It could have been. One time, one particular girl, we were at a ranch out Tapatio, and the bride was telling me, oh my God, I grew up with my dad and my stepmom. My stepmom is paying for this whole thing, and I love my mom, but they don't get along. And I was like, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. That's the least thing that you need to be thinking about right now. So the mom comes down the aisle first. She sits 1, 2, 3 over. Then comes the stepmom. She sits 1, 2, and sits right next to the mom. That's how they planned it. It was fine. Then the bride and the dad come down the aisle, and right before that happened, and I'm standing right there because I'm getting the bride coming down. That's where I stand until the bride's down, and then I move out of the way. I'm always go down on one knee, so now I'm looking, like eye level or a little lower. And the stepmom reached over and said, "It's time," and she grabbed the mom's hand, and the two of them touched heads and shared a Kleenex. And I thought, this girl worried about nothing. This moment probably was quite a while ago, but it stuck in my head because that poor girl worried. She goes, "I've lost sleep over it."
Oh my gosh.
And it was nothing.
Oh, and it probably honestly helped the mom and stepmom have a mutual reason to be okay. Even if they did have their problems in the past, they both loved that bride enough to put themselves aside. Yeah. If there's someone that you're really, really worried about, then,
maybe they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, maybe just don't invite them.
Yeah.
But,
or assign somebody,
to keep an eye out. I appreciate you sharing all of that knowledge. Yeah. And I know that couples are going to walk away from this with newfound knowledge of of things that they can take for their wedding day and things that they can leave behind, you know?
Yeah,
So
not everything will apply to them, but something might.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dane, for coming into the studio today. If people are interested in booking you or learning more from you, where would they find you?
Well, they could find my link on sanantonioweddings.com and dosekiwis.com. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook too.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dane. And shout out again to today's sponsor, McNay Art Museum. Check out their vendor profile as well on sanantonioweddings.com. And don't forget, the buzz doesn't have to stop here. We're everywhere online, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, YouTube, podcast, everywhere. We're here for you to help you plan your perfect San Antonio wedding. So thanks again for joining us. Subscribe to our channel, turn on those notifications, like this video, and we'll see you next time. Wave to this camera and say bye.
Adios.